just to be clear, what we're going to vote on is whether we accept it as a thing to vote on. We're not voting on the composited motion. We're voting on whether we take that as something to vote on in the first place, given that it's not in the printed materials. So obviously, if it is being taken as a thing to vote on, then there'll be a chance for speeches against. So don't worry that there hasn't been a speech against, because there will be if it's taken. Okay? So.
Question about the amendment. That's a question coming there. Sorry, I'll raise my second question. Sorry, is it me? Have you asked?
Well, not really, because I'm just trying to read something out, but...
The person who's written the document is not agreeing to the composite. The person who wrote the motion...
Well, we don't know what the question is.
So then they can vote against the composite.
Not invited to the meeting to discuss it, not allowed to speak to the amendment.
Sorry, Chair, he's written the solidarity guide that has been composite by people who've actually not written it. He didn't know there was a meeting happening. But then he can
vote against the composite or against taking the vote on the composite.
Conference decided to have it heard today, his solidarity guide. And this meeting this morning just took this decision and turned it on its head. It's ridiculous.
Okay, well, look, that's why we're putting it to conference as to whether or not we take it as composited.
Very dishonest.
I'm not dishonest. I didn't know about that. I'm sorry, you can't accuse people of being dishonest.
Look,
Ridiculous.
can we explain for the chair what has happened? No, let's just explain first of all how we got here and then why we're putting. And we're not being dishonest. We're pretty much as much in the dark as you, and that is why it's suddenly been presented to us. And what we're going to take a vote on is whether you want to accept that. It will be for conference. It's not for the chairs. We're going to put it to you. Now we're going to read out what it is. But we were yesterday. As a result of a standing orders challenge, something was put back onto the agenda. Following that, there have been some discussions, and we've heard some comments about how those have gone ahead, that have come up with this composite, which appeared, and the first time I saw it as a chair of the session was when somebody pointed out it was behind my head. So we're not being dishonest, and so faced with that situation, we are asking conference whether it is prepared to accept this situation. If it isn't, we'll go back to the agenda as it was previously there. Okay, so that's what we're doing. We're giving you a vote on whether to accept this composite or whether to stick with the previous agenda because of the...
Can I raise a point of order?
It's a very simple issue and I'm not taking a debate on it. Calm down, just wait. We're giving you a vote. We understand and we've heard that information. I'm not taking debate on this. It's a very simple thing. You've got something proposed to you which you haven't got printed, you've hardly any time to look at, which is above. Now, it's a decision, I understand that the person who read it, but it became the property of conference when it was admitted onto the agenda. We've had it reported that not everyone who was party to the motion has been involved in the compositing. Take that into account when you make your decision. But the decision is whether to accept onto the agenda or not. A very simple decision, and we should go ahead and take that decision now.
Okay, and before we take it, I'm just going to read out what would be put onto the agenda, okay? So what we would be adding to motion A is... additional wording, we agree to an early meeting between Safe Spaces, conveners of caucuses, disputes committee, appeals committee and national officers to discuss processes on safeguarding and training needs. And then also from page 102, how we will operate as a party. Organising to rid our society of the scourge of capitalism is difficult and often discouraging work. We encourage our members and supporters to show a positive, patient and cooperative spirit. To members who do not abide by the LU Constitution may, following fair and transparent internal LU procedures, face suspension and or termination of their membership. 3, members who bring LU into disrepute, e.g. by subjecting other LU members or supporters to violence or intimidation, or who steal party property, will be subject to suspension and or termination of their membership. Any police agents, racists, fascists, misogynists or homophobes discovered in our ranks face automatic termination of their LU membership. We take seriously the security and the protection of LU and all of its members. Now, all we are voting on is whether to allow onto the agenda a discussion of a composited motion that includes that. We're not voting on whether we accept that. We're voting on whether to accept it onto the agenda. All those in favour? All those against? Do we want to count that? Yes. Okay. So can we have tellers to the front? All those in favour?